Hey guys, what's up? It's Courtney, and today I decided to film the long-awaited Camp Counselor Q&A. I do apologise for filming on my iPhone, but I did bring my camera, but I left my SD card at home, which is always helpful. But yes, basically I've compiled a few questions that either I have been asked over the past sort of 2 years and things that I wish I would have known before applying to camp. I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you do have any further questions, please leave them in the comments below. So the first and probably most common question is, how do you work at camp and how do you apply to work at a camp? Which agency do you choose and what is the process like? So it doesn't matter where you are from in the world, you do need to have an agency to go through to work at a camp in America. There are a ton of agencies you can choose from. There's Camp America, American, CCUSA, a bunch of different ones that I can't really think of right now. But anyway, I went with CCUSA as I had a lot of friends that had gone through them and had really good experiences. They have the lowest fees, the highest pay, and the best placement rate. So I think they have a 100% placement rate if you were accepted into their program. So basically what you will do is you will just go onto CCUSA's website and you will begin to fill in the biggest application you've ever faced in your life, and basically you just go through all your personal details, skills that you might have, to provide 3 references. We also have to create a video, which is probably like the most painful part, and yeah, basically it's this huge long process, and at the end of your application you have an interview with a CCUSA representative, and they will basically try to help you to beef up your application more so it appears more appealing to camps that want to hire you. So basically once all of this is done, all your fees are paid, your entire application will go up onto like a database where all camps from across America that have links to CCUSA or whichever agency you decide to go with will be able to view it. From there, camps will be looking for people to hire, whether that be camp counselling staff, specialty staff, program staff, leadership staff, whatever kind of staff they are looking for. They will look for the skills that they require from you that will match up to your profile. So this process can take a long time or it can take a really short time. It doesn't mean that your application is any less than someone else's. For me, it only took a week for me to hear back from my first and only camp because I ended up accepting the job. Some camps wait right until the last minute to start hiring, and that might be why, because you're best fitted at one of those camps. So the process is long, but it is worth it. Next common question is, how much does everything cost? Let's just get this straight from the start. Camp is not about making money. You will pay for your flights, which from Perth is usually around $1,800, give or take sort of like $500. Your application fee is $500 if you get the early bird special. If you don't, it's an extra $50, but it's not too much of a big deal if you really need to think about your decision first. So then you have around a $200 fee for your visa and consulate appointment, and then there's other little bits and pieces that you'll obviously have to pay for that you might not have. If you don't have a passport, you'll obviously have to pay for a valid passport. You will need to have a police check, which is around $30. In some states they will require forensics and fingerprints, which costs I think mine was around $100. So all up you're looking at about $2,500 to $3,000. So basically you want to think about this as you're probably not going to make that much money in return. CCUSA rate is like $1,350 US, I believe. So that's what I was paid my first year, and then my second summer I got paid the regular camp rate that my camp offers, which is significantly higher, which was really lovely. But yes, basically you're going to lose money while you're working at camp, essentially. You may break even if you're lucky, if you like live in Sydney or something and your flights are cheaper. Try to book your flights on a Tuesday or Wednesday. It's not always possible, but those are the cheapest days to fly. Make sure you look at Skyscanner, STA Travel, and compare all your flights. STA is an amazing company that gives discount flights to people under 26, but I believe they've just put it up to 31, so if you're in between that, good for you. And they will help you get the best deal, and they also have an alliance with CCUSA, so you'll get even cheaper flights as well. How did you survive your long haul flights? I have definitely learnt things throughout my time flying. So I've been to camp twice, and then I flew to England this year to live for I don't know how long, but we're here. First thing would be Online check-in is really key. Most airlines nowadays will offer it, but not all do, unfortunately. But if you do have online check-in, I would recommend seat selection and going for a window seat where the aisle is completely free and the aisle in front of you is free and the aisle behind you is free. And then just keep going in like every hour or two, just checking on the seats, and if you need to move accordingly, you can do that. This way you can almost guarantee that you may have a full row, but if you don't, at least you have the window seat so you can prop up your pillow and lean against that. Also, when you check into the airport with your airline, you can ask, can I have a full row? Could you give me as much space as possible? Is there any free upgrades available? It does sound kind of awkward, but the worst thing that they can say is no, and you're not going to put yourself at a disadvantage. They're not going to say, oh, well, she asked, so she's not going to get it. And some airlines offer you to pay slightly extra for you to have a full row. So I know with Qantas, you can pay $250 and you can have 3 extra seats, which I think is a really good deal, especially if you're on like a 16-hour flight. I think that is value for money, but if you're trying to save money, just suck it up. On a few of my flights, I have used melatonin as a sleep aid, a natural sleep aid, which did help, so you can also do that. Try to book flights where you leave early in the morning and you arrive late at night, so that way your body is awake when you wake up and it's a normal time for you to wake up, but when you get into your city of your destination, you can go to sleep straight away and try to get off all of that jet lag. I would recommend you come in a few days earlier just so you can work on your jet lag. I did not do that my first summer, and everyone knew that I was incredibly exhausted, and it was orientation and I couldn't really get to know people as much as I wanted to, and I kind of set myself back a week trying to like focus on myself and like getting into what I was doing. How was your experience with camp and how highly would you rate it to other people? My experience with camp was amazing. Even put it into words, really. I went to a Christian camp and I just felt so like I was supposed to be there, and that God really drew me there. I learned so many things about myself and about my relationship with Him, and I built amazing friendships, and I felt acceptance really for the first time in my life, especially from Christians, so that was really good. And I would recommend it to anyone who has an open mind, who loves children, who has a passion for cultural exchange, and who wants to broaden their horizons. Camp is definitely not for everyone. If you're just doing it as a cheap way to travel, it's not a cheap way to travel. Actually, it probably end up costing you more because you really don't travel all that much when you're at camp. What made you decide that you wanted to work at a summer camp? I have always known that this is something that I've wanted to do since pretty much I saw The Parent Trap and Camp Rock and any camp related movies. Also Camp Dakota. Good movie, you should watch it. Yeah, so I always really knew that I wanted to do it. It was just a matter of time as to when would be best for me, and I wanted to do it straight out of school, but I knew I didn't have the maturity or independence yet to be able to commit to something like that. Is the visa process difficult? It's not difficult, but it is lengthy and stressful and frustrating, and oftentimes I would think, is this even worth it? But CCUSA are amazing, and they're there every step of the way. Like pretty much any agency you're going to go with, they're going to assist you with your visa anyway, as much as they can. Just make sure you read every bit of information really carefully, because they are very strict, and if you make any mistakes, they are not forgiving in that regard. They have to keep their protection really secure, so just make sure you're reading everything thoroughly. What skills do you need to work at camp? Most people would think that you need to be like super sporty or extroverted or been a soccer coach before or like something like that, and to be honest, I have none of that. It is possible as long as you, like I said before, you have an open mind and you're willing to try new things, and yeah, so basically there is a spot for everyone who has the right mindset about it. So I was hired as like a general counselor, so I was a senior counselor. I had my own cabin with 10 campers along with a co-counselor, and we basically took campers everywhere with us rather than teaching a specific program based activity. So like I didn't teach like crafts or anything like that. What is a typical day at camp like? Now, every camp is going to be different, but at my camp we would wake up at like, we had to check in at 6:45. We would have a morning devotion time where we would just spend time with God and get ourselves prepared for the day. Then we would go back at 7:15 to wake up our campers, and then we would have breakfast at 8. So when we were waking the campers up, we would also clean the cabin and just get them prepared for the day, whatever activities they would have. And then after breakfast we would have a morning devotion time where one of the counsellors of the cabin, so either myself or my co-counsellor, would share like a morning devotion, just like a lesson on the Bible, and they would go to their classes. So they would have 2 classes per day, which would be like a creek hike and crafts, or drama and sports, or you know, something like that. After that they would have like a hang time where they just kind of chill around the main camp for a while, and the counsellors would go and have a meeting. We would have lunch, and then after that we would have FOB, which is flat on bunk, which is basically an encouraged nap time. They don't have to nap, but you have to be quiet and remain on their bunks, hence the name. And most of the time the counsellors will try to fit a nap in there somewhere. After FOB, this can kind of vary. Sometimes they have free time, sometimes they'll have a special activity which the counsellors have arranged for them to do. So during free time there's a bunch of activities on, and they can just basically roam camp and go on the ropes course, or go swimming, or do some crafts, or play gaga, or do all of these cool things that they have set up. And that would usually go for like a few hours. During that time at my camp we would be encouraged to have one-on-ones with our camper, which probably sounds like kind of sketchy to people that don't know, but basically throughout the whole week each camper has to have a one-on-one with one of their counsellors, which is basically just a time for them to hang out with a counsellor one-on-one, so they don't feel left out or feel any less than the other kids in the cabin, because as you may know, some kids are very dominating and stuff like that, so it's good to have like an hour or so just with one camper. And during that time we're encouraged to like talk to them about their faith and any struggles that they might be facing at home, and just really play the role of a counsellor in that time, and just like really help them and give them advice and just be with them and listen to them, because a lot of these kids have really rough home lives and don't often have someone that will listen to them. So that's a really cool time, one of my favourite parts about camp. Then after free time, it's usually dinner. So we have dinner, and then we usually play a ball field game. So we'll go out onto the ball field, play a game. Then usually after that we'll have snack shop, so we'll go to the snack shop and they'll all be able to have a snack if they wish. They will have money on their account. And then after that we would typically have what we call Vespers, which is a night worship session, where we would go down to a little amphitheatre and have a time of worship and hear a message and just be together as a whole camp. And after that we would head back to our cabins, and then like kind of every other night there would be a night activity. So if there was a night activity, it would either be like a night swim, a night game, or yeah, those are pretty much the 2 options. And then after that we'd just have showers and bed. And so basically our day is from like 8 o'clock to 11 p.m. so it's a long day. It's exhausting, but it is great. How do you know what camp to go to? So there's a few different options when applying to camp. One of them is to go to a camp job fair. They have them around any major city. If you go to a job fair, there will be a select amount of camps being represented, so the bigger camps will travel with CCUSA, and they will be able to meet potential staff members, so you can go along and you can meet the summer camp directors and talk to them and get a feel for what their camp's like, and if you like them you may be hired on the spot. I just allowed CCUSA to place me with the camp that was best fitting to me, which definitely did happen, and it was way above anything I ever expected it to be. And obviously I loved it because I went back a second summer, and I would die to go back another summer, but I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, that basically concludes this video. And if you want to see my camp experience video, just put it below as well. Just, yeah, like the video or something. I don't know. I don't really do the YouTube thing much anymore, but you know. Anyway, I am going to also do an au pair Q&A because I'm currently an au pair. So please put any questions that you have about that in the comments below as well. And yeah, subscribe if you're new, which you probably are because your girl hasn't done this in a while, so it's fine. Alright guys, I'm gonna check out.